Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have some very fun updates to share about Donald Trump's coup clown. So first, there is breaking news this afternoon. Attorney Jeffrey Clark has been found that he violated at least one professional rule of conduct by a DC ethics panel. There were two charges levied against him. It's unclear at this point because literally this is breaking news as I'm recording this, but it's unclear which of the two they say he violated. But as I mentioned previously, his disciplinary proceeding had just started. It literally hasn't even been a week. And this, of course, is regarding his involvement in Trump's attempted coup. Well, the Board of Responsibility did not take long to render their verdict. The panel has also made it very clear they plan to push for Clark's disbarment. So this is very bad news for Clark, very good news for the rule of law. And as you all know, Clark is also one of Trump's co-defendants in the Georgia RICO case. So things could get a lot worse for him by the end of this year. Whoops. Oh, well. Womp womp and thoughts and prayers. It sounds like he's entering the find out phase of his journey. This is also bad news for Trump because you now have two of his coup attorneys who've been found liable for taking either illegal or unethical actions on his behalf. So that can and will be used against him in his trials. As I said, womp womp and thoughts and prayers. Next up is news about one of my favorites, Peter Navarro, Mr. What They Do? What They Do? Navarro was Trump's trade advisor, as you probably remember. He is currently serving a 4-month prison sentence for contempt of Congress. All because he was trying to protect the apricot antichrist. So Navarro's losing streak continues because a federal appeals court just rejected Navarro's latest argument against turning over documents that are in his possession. So NARA, which you might know, it is the National Archives and Records Administration. They have been requesting these documents for several years now from Navarro. These are items related to his time when he was working in the Trump administration. So they legally belong to the government. Well, Navarro has just refused to turn this material over. There's definitely some shady stuff going on too, because one of the things that he's refusing to turn over is his Proton Mail emails. So Proton Email is an encrypted email service. This is not something that you're supposed to use when you work in the US government. And when the Justice Department pressed him to get him to hand all this stuff over, Navarro said, okay, I can give you around 250 emails, but you have to grant me immunity first. Yeah, that's not suspicious at all. So in February of this year, a judge threatened Navarro. They said, we're going to hit you with a contempt of court charge if you do not comply with this order to turn everything over to NARA. Navarro appealed that decision. So now the appeals court has slapped him down and they said, quote, these arguments are without merit under clear, long-standing precedent. If Navarro were correct, the statute would leave the United States with no ability to retrieve presidential records from employees if they refuse to return presidential records after being disciplined or exiting federal employment. So Navarro now faces sanctions, possibly in the form of more prison time. So if he continues to just stonewall, if he continues to refuse to comply, that's what he's facing. So we will see what happens. I will definitely let you know. In the meantime, he doesn't seem to be having too much fun in prison. U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts had rejected Navarro's request to overturn his prison sentence. So now Navarro is begging Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch to intervene. He wants him to overrule Justice Roberts. There is zero chance of that happening. So I guess he just likes burning through his cash. Next is news about attorney John Eastman. I shared last week, a California judge recommended that Eastman be disbarred for his part in Trump's attempted coup. So his law license was immediately suspended. And the matter still needs to be reviewed by the Supreme Court in California, though. They have the final say. So Eastman is now begging the court to stay the judge's decision until the Supreme Court of California weighs in. And he's asking for this delay while he appeals the ruling, and because he's saying, I need to be able to keep working, I need to be able to keep paying my bills, which are growing by the minute. So his attorney says he's already incurred over $1 million in legal fees. Given his outstanding legal issues in Georgia and elsewhere, they're saying he could owe as much as $3 million or more in legal fees by the time this is all over. Again, we'll see what happens with that. In the meantime, Eastman says he's been subpoenaed in a lawsuit involving Trump. So he gave an interview on Mike Lindell's Conspiracy Channel, and Eastman said, quote, I just got a subpoena served on us last week by the Capitol police officers seeking everything, all of my communications with the president and anybody else. They've completely blown through attorney-client privilege. I mean, yeah, that's what happens when you commit crimes with and or for your client. So there you go. And then speaking of attorneys committing crimes with their clients, America's defendant is also whining about his legal woes. He's also throwing himself on the mercy of the court. Rudy Giuliani filed a motion with the bankruptcy court. He is asking them to allow him to keep his $3.5 million condo in Florida because he says that's where he records his podcast and his video shows. So without that pricey condo, how can he possibly make these shows? How can he possibly earn money? I guess he's never heard of renting. He's like, well, I'm going to sell the place in New York. And so that leaves me with only one home. That leaves me with only the Florida condo. So what am I to do? How could I possibly record a video or do a podcast from somewhere other than a $3.5 million Florida condo? Who knew, guys? I didn't know I needed to go get a $3.5 million condo to do this show. Anyway, I doubt the judge is going to go for this BS argument. This is not a judge to trifle with, but again, we'll see. I'll keep you posted. Next is a bit of news about Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows. He is once again trying to get his Georgia RICO charges dropped. He filed something with the court on Monday. He's arguing that the U.S. Constitution's supremacy clause protects him from state prosecution because he was working for the federal government. He was working for Trump at the time. This is just a complete rehashing of an issue that's already been decided over and over again by all kinds of judges, all different courts. So I doubt this is going to go anywhere. Again, I guess we've got somebody else who just likes burning money on legal fees. Must be nice. Anyway, I will let you know when I hear more about all of Trump's coup clowns. Hope you enjoyed this. I know I did. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like this video, share it, become a subscriber if you have not, donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.